Angels Care Home Health, serving Hayes and the surrounding areas, is a Medicare-certified home health agency providing quality skilled nursing and restorative therapy services to patients in their homes.
I would recommend Angel Care to anybody. They have really helped me regain my strength.
Angels Care is there to help 24 hours a day, and all services are covered 100% by Medicare for patients who are eligible. Angels Care Home Health. We serve patients.
I couldn't have survived this without Angels Care.
Eagle Community Television presents Community Connection with your host, Mike Cooper.
Hello and welcome again to Community Connection from Eagle Community Television. Thanks for watching, and thanks to our producer, Jeff Durall. We're at the Ellis County Fairgrounds in what will soon be the new 4-H food stand at the fairgrounds, just off 183 bypass, with Assistant Professor of the Institute of Applied Technology at Fort Hays State University, Kris Munsch, and one of the driving forces behind the new 4-H food stand. Kris, tell us about the thought process. Oh, and I should mention too, the host of the very successful House to Home too. A great program.
That loosely.
A great program on Eagle Television. It is really outstanding. If you haven't caught it, be sure and do it, or on Hayes Post for sure. So Kris, what was the thought process that went into approaching a project like this?
Put as much of it as possible in the students' hands. That's literally, once we came out and had a chance to see what the building was, what was here originally, I knew very quickly that what was here needed to go. But it's like, how can I get the students involved, and how can they learn from this and make a decision? So that's literally what we did. When I kind of saw where it needed to go, I got the kids, my students involved, and we set up a meeting out here, and I let them kind of do an inspection to make a decision, yay or nay. Does it go? Do we build new? Can it be rebuilt? And and so they went back and they had some time to kind of go through that, and it was kind of cool to watch them stumble around in here. Some of them came in, they were like boom, 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 and some of them were like, they didn't even know where to start. And so that's, then it's kind of my job to mentor or kind of guide them the best I can, if I can.
Well, it's a learning process for them, something that they're going to be exposed to in later life, regardless of whether they're doing their own personal project or something that they're contracting for.
Yeah, because that's the job they're going into, is be a construction manager, and so often they're going to go out, they're going to be asked to give an estimate on a job, and they're going to walk up and they're going to have to be in a place where they can say, yes, it needs to be done, or well, I shouldn't do this because it's putting bad money after already a bad project.
And so the decision, which they literally came to, was to start from scratch rather than try to rebuild what was already here.
Yeah, and so overwhelmingly tear down, which I kind of figured that would be they just like tearing down stuff anyway. But, and then instantly.
Well, I've noticed you do a pretty good job of tearing things up too.
I do like tearing stuff up. I do, and so then the discussion had to start. Okay, if we're going to tear it down, what are you going to rebuild? And that's actually the harder part than making that first decision, because there's a lot of people involved. It's easy if it's going to be my garage or my shop or my house, but when you've got this is a community project, so it's 4-H. How are we going to, how do the board members sit down and decide, how do my students work with, what's it going to look like, what's going to be inside, what's going to happen? And so that was probably the hardest part of the whole project, was that coming together with a plan.
Those are things you have to consider, and certainly you have to consider the function of the building, all of the input that you're going to get from board members and other people that are going to be involved, the 4-H Extension agent, Susan Schlicting, of course. Yeah. A lot of things to consider in a project like this.
And what's kind of cool is to watch that come together. And I'll be honest, I've never done anything like that. All my projects I've ever done in the past are houses of my own and things and so it was even a learning process for me, is how do you bring all this together, and how do you, you can't make everyone happy, but how can you make the most people, happy with what the project's going to be? And once we got that done, the groundwork was laid, and boom, we started, we came together with the project and
Okay,
building.
as we look around, Kris, what are we seeing here on the interior now, which of course is still awaiting further finishing and be ready for fair time, of course,
Yeah.
this year. But what are we seeing here inside?
Well, what we did was the way the construction class is set up at Fort Hays is foundation work is done. We do the construction up, and so we're standing in what will be the serving area with the serving windows around, and you know, my thought was keep it as open as possible so it's more functional for as many different events as possible. And so once we had a plan, they had a concrete guy come in, lay the concrete for us. And then we came out, and every Tuesday, Thursday afternoon from basically 12:30 to about 3:30 or 4, we just started building. And it was cool because this semester I really stepped back. No tool belt. I just stepped back. I put supervisors in charge because that's the real world. I told them what they needed to do to accomplish for the day, and they supervised their peers, which was interesting to watch, to say the least.
Tough to be not hands-on like you usually
You
are?
know, actually, believe it or not, it wasn't at all. I'd flip my tailgate down, I took a couple naps, I brought my dogs, I'd throw a ball. I mean, I got
That delegation thing works pretty well then,
I'm
huh?
liking this whole thing, being in charge.
Well, Kris, in our last couple of minutes here visiting from the new food stand, what do you suppose the kids take away from this? The lessons taught, the lessons they learn?
Real life. I mean, it's as real life as they're going to get. It's a community project. Number one, I did this with students at Bonner Springs High School. We built a kiosk at the football stadium, and one of the things I instantly thought was someday these kids are going to grow up, they're going to get married, they're going to have kids, and they're going to be able to walk under that kiosk and say, I helped build this. And it's the same thing here. And even for me this summer, I can't wait to come order a hot dog at the window to say I was part of helping bring this together. And the students really walk away, you know, they're going to get construction experience no matter where they go, but I think it's the lifelong lessons that they take away and the leadership lessons, and we irritated them often that I sat him on the back of my truck. I overheard a couple of them when I'd kick my head back and put my hat over my eyes and take a little siesta. It irritated him, and I'm glad it irritated him because that's how it works in the real world.
Yeah.
You know, when you're out swinging a hammer and it's snowing, your supervisor's sitting in the trailer all comfy and warm. You have to want to earn that position. And I've earned mine, and so I'm going to help them earn theirs.
And what a great legacy.
Well, I think it'll be pretty cool.
Kris Munsch, Assistant Professor at the Institute of Applied Technology at Fort Hays State University. From the Ellis County Food Stand, the 4-H Food Stand, soon to be a part of this year's Ellis County Fair. Our Community Connection. Thanks for watching.
Angels Care Home Health, serving Hays and the surrounding areas, is a Medicare-certified home health agency providing quality skilled nursing and restorative therapy services to patients in their homes.
There's not any words to describe their kindness.
Angels Care is there to help 24 hours a day, and all services are covered 100% by Medicare for patients who are eligible. Angels Care Home Health. We serve patients.
They saved my life.
Our Community Connection continues from the Ellis County Fairgrounds and the 4-H Food Stand with the Susan Schlicting, the Ellis County Extension Agent for 4-H Youth Development, now in her 13th season of working with the 4-Hers. Well, the food stand is now a reality. The Raise the Roof campaign helped make it possible, Susan.
Absolutely. We had tremendous community support come forward, and the kids did fundraisers, and we had community organizations and individuals that were very generous to help us to raise the roof and to be able to make this a reality.
And it really all started with that first donation, didn't it, from the Fahnensteel?
Absolutely. That was a phenomenal donation in memory of Lisa Fahnensteel, who was killed a number of years ago in a car accident. She was a Ellis County 4-Her, a 4-H parent here, and just a very fitting tribute. She enjoyed working in the food stand as a 4-Her, and so to have her memorial remembered through this building is a great thing.
What a tribute it really is.
Truly.
And that was really the seed money that started all those other donations coming forward, didn't
Well,
it?
and we also had the Ellis County Farm Bureau Association, farmers and ranchers of the county that matched that donation, and so they will also be recognized in the naming of this building. And so those two major donations, along with many, many other generous donations, Midland Marketing gave us $10,000, and that helps a bunch as well. And we'll be able to, with the monies we've raised, be able to put a little bit of a fund aside for future renovations or repairs that we need as the building goes on. And so we'll have that in a safe spot. And
well, and ongoing expenses year after year from maintaining the building, as you say, the utilities, other things that are involved in that. That'll be good seed money for that, too.
Absolutely.
And again, the 4-H Achievement Banquet announcement of the $10,000 there as well from Midland and from Co-Bank of Wichita. Made a nice addition. But in addition to that, the 4-Hers throughout the year contribute with fundraisers.
Oh, absolutely. We had bake sales. We had a huge garage sale, and the kids were knee-deep in working on those projects. We sold Freddy's Frozen Custard at the fair, T-shirts, all sorts of fun fundraisers that lent support to this project.
And now the funds are approaching $80,000.
We're near that mark, yes, and so we're very fortunate and very thankful to the community for all those contributions, because there were many individuals, former 4-Hers, former 4-H parents, leaders, that also gave nice donations to this project. And they will all be recognized on a special board that we're having made for the side of the building.
I was going to ask you about that. I hope there's a plaque or a board or something where these names and these contributors can be recognized for those of us who might not be aware of what it takes to put a project like this together and come to a final completion, as we'll see during the fair. Those donations, though, include former 4-Hers and other labor donations that are a big part of it too, Susan.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We've got several 4-H parents and former 4-H parents who are helping us with this project. Kevin Hoosier Construction has poured the concrete foundation and will help us with the outside concrete pad around the building. We've got Star Electric, that Darren Fonensteel, who's come out, and his son Braylon, who have done the wiring work and he sits on the fair board. But he also was a 4-H parent and 4-Her who worked in this stand and really understands the workings of what we're trying to accomplish here. And so that is a huge thing to have that kind of help behind us. Bob Klaus, another former 4-H parent and volunteer, has helped us with the plumbing. Reliable Heating and Cooling is working with us on the air conditioning and heating unit for the building. You know, there's just some great contributions that way as well with their labor. Leon's Welding is another as well. So we certainly appreciate all of those supports that we've gotten through this project.
Well, and when we were talking with Kris Munsch about the actual building of the structure itself, you can now incorporate energy efficiency, such as the foam insulation in the ceiling and the roof that Kris put in, the windows and such as that, to make it much more efficient and comfortable for maybe expanded usage.
Right. We'll be looking at good insulation in the walls as well, and that just will help us to be able to use this building spring through fall and maybe 4-H meetings, project meetings. We're going to have a cookout and movie night under the stars out here one night after the fair to kind of celebrate the end of all the summer 4-H events. And so just things like that we'll be able to use this facility for.
Well, now, what about the basics? We're kind of in the interior section now, but one of Kris's ideas you're going to put into place, and that's to kind of keep everything just basically structurally efficient the first time, to see where things need to be and how it needs to be constructed inside.
Right. It was his suggestion that we not go in and build in cabinets and counters and islands and things right off the bat, that we leave it open, we bring in folding tables and move things around during the fair. So 4-H clubs have been warned that it may be different from day to day as they come into work, because we want to try and see what's the most efficient flow, and then we may build in some tables and counters and those kinds of things. So we're planning to get the inside walls and insulation done yet before the fair this year, put the counters in at the windows inside and out, and then after the fair, after we've analyzed that flow and how it worked best, then we'll come back in and build in any cupboards and counters and storage spaces. But for this year, it's going to be a little bare bones, just as we try and figure out what's our best layout and best approach.
Well, in our final couple of minutes, Susan, 4-H is all about education and learning. What do the kids take away from this project?
Oh, so many things. There have been a number of kids that have sat on the planning committee as we've worked through this project of raising funds. They've helped with fundraisers and learning about how to raise funds efficiently. They've been working with the public and saying thank you. Our ambassador team went out, and those folks that made major donations, they delivered cookies and calendars to them. Just being able to communicate with folks. I was talking to a parent the other day, and she said, I can't believe how my kid is scared to go up and talk to someone they don't know about something that's very simple. And I think 4-H helps kids to overcome some of that, because they're put into those roles and sitting at the table with the adults to make decisions and to work through processes, because this was a huge process. Getting parents and kids to come together to come up with the ideas that were the final ideas, working with Kris and his team, putting all of that together. It just really is a big, big project, and there were lots of steps and lots of communication that went on to make it happen.
And finally, Susan, what are we going to call 4-H food stand?
Well, it will still be the 4-H food stand, but it will have a special signage that says Lisa Fawn and Still Memorial, Ellis County Farm Bureau Association 4-H food stand. And Leon's Welding is making us some special placards that will go out at the edge of the pavement, actually. It won't be attached to the building directly, but there will be some placards to help people know a little bit more about who Lisa was, and to know about the Ellis County Farm Bureau Association, and those will be attached to the building so people can learn about that as they wait for their food.
Looking forward to the Ellis County Fair this year and the new 4-H food stand.
Certainly we are. Certainly.
Susan Schlicting, Ellis County Extension Agent for 4-H Youth Development and our Community Connection. Thanks for watching.
Angels Care Home Health, serving Hayes and the surrounding areas, is a Medicare certified home health agency providing quality skilled nursing and restorative therapy services to patients in their homes.
There's not any words to describe their kindness.
Angels Care is there to help 24 hours a day, and all services are covered 100% by Medicare for patients who are eligible. Angels Care Home Health. We serve patients.
They saved my life.